Welcome to the Ages of Rock podcast with your hosts Bill Algie, Dennis Talbot, and Alan Tate. We are three guys who have one thing in common, a love of rock and roll. Our goal is to talk about all things rock. We hope you find this show intriguing, funny, and occasionally highly opinionated. Enjoy!
Hi, this is Chip Snuff from Enough Snuff, and you're listening to the Ages of Rock podcast with three jagoffs. Turn it up!
Hey folks, this is episode number 142, and this week we are going to discuss the Kiss End of the Road tour and a little bit about the Kiss Cruise that just concluded. And before we do that, I have an old friend. I've probably known John for 20 years. John, introduce yourself.
Hey, my name's John Erigo, and I've known Alan for 20 years.
Thanks to the Kiss Army mailing list.
Yes, we go way back.
Way back. That one in the 80s rock metal list.
80s rock metal. I don't even think I had a computer when we first met. I think I was rocking the web TV back then.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Wow.
But see, now John is way older than I am, so he would remember the old web TV days.
Yeah, that's how I started. So, even with I was in bands back then, and I was able to promote myself that way through using that. So I didn't need a computer. So back then it was different. So it was kind of easy for me to get on the internet that way and do stuff. So it was a long time ago.
It was about those times that we used to beat people up that you actually used computers.
Yeah, there you go. You used computer, you were a nerd back then, right?
You're a nerd. You're into math.
It's kind of funny because we told him words he couldn't use on the show so he didn't get in trouble for something, and we've used we're close to it. Nerds, dorks, yeah, whatever.
We fit all of those. Yeah,
to some degree, that's true.
Yeah.
But I am an old school Kiss fan. I've been a Kiss fan since 1976, so I guess that counts for a little something. I've been to approximately 115 Kiss concerts since my first one in 79, so I'm a Kiss fan.
Well, tell us about all of the members that you've met.
The members that I met, well, like arranged things. I've met the Revenge lineup, but kind of in the street kind of thing. When I lived in Long Island, I used to go to Manhattan a lot, and one day I happened to be walking down the street in Greenwich Village, and Paul Stanley and Bruce Kulick were coming out of Electric Lady right around the same time I was walking down the street, and ran over to them and got to talk to them, got autographs and stuff, and they were recording, I think they were recording Animalize at the time. It was pretty cool. It was just one of those spur of the moment things, they were really cool. They stopped, and talked to us and signed. I didn't have anything to sign, so I just gave them a $1 bill. So here, sign this, So and also back in the day, Eric Carr used to hang out at a lot of the local clubs when the band wasn't on tour. So one night I was at Lemoore East, which was in Queens, and Lita Ford was playing, and it was a typical crowd. At that time, everybody used to go to like every show, so you knew like everybody there. So I had like these three guys that I really, really knew good. They came up to me and they grabbed me. They're like, "Yo, dude, check out who's at the bar." I'm like, "Who?" So they dragged me over there, and there's Eric Carr, and he's just standing there talking to somebody. So I'm like, "Okay, cool, thanks." I turned around. They said, No, man. You're the biggest Kiss fan we know. You have to talk to him, or we're not letting you leave, So I just kind of slid my way into the conversation, and he wound up being really cool. He gave me his business card at the time. He had a production company. So casual things like that. Wow. Nothing crazy, but it was along the way. It's been pretty cool every once in a while to say hi, or something like that. So
awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's much more cool than some contrived.
Yeah, like when a Live 3 was coming out,
you pay like $2,000 for.
Yeah, like when a Live 3 was coming out, they did some like autograph signings and when the DVD came out, like arranged ones that I went to. Right. Also, I went to a couple of the residency shows in Vegas, and the day I was leaving, I was having breakfast in the Hard Rock, and the waitress said something like, "Were you guys here for the Kiss shows?" I was like, "Yeah," and she goes, "Oh, one of them's sitting right there." And there's Tommy Thayer was sitting having breakfast with I forgot the guy's name. He used to do some of the magazines in the '80s. And I just walked over to him. He was very approachable because I was a big Black and Blue fan back in the day. So it was really cool to meet him. He was a really nice guy, very down to earth. So yeah, cool stuff.
So you're from like the New York area. I guess you live in the New York area then. Or
Yeah, I grew up in Long Island, which is where I was. I was on the West End, so I was only about a half-hour train ride from Manhattan. So the reason why I've been to so many Kiss shows is because in the late '80s and the early '90s, I had a job where I worked 7 to 3. So I got home at 3 o'clock. I was able to go to anywhere within 2 hours. I had a friend that was also a Kiss fanatic. So we had we had the Long Island show, we had Madison Square Garden, Philly, Connecticut, Albany, all these places that were in a 2-hour drive we could get to. Right. So every tour we just did the circle. Then I had family here in Florida where I live now. It was a great excuse to come down and see them, here in Tampa. And then they'd also play at Orlando. So he was able to squeeze 2 shows in down here.
That's cool.
You throw in, going to Tiger Stadium and little road trips here and there to different places, and it added up over the years. Cool. Because when I was a kid, when I first got into them, my parents were very strict. So I missed Destroyer, I missed Rock and Roll Over, I missed Love Gun, I missed the Palladium show for Unmasked. I was not allowed to go. So
I was senior in high school was the first year my parents let me go to the concert because our venue was about an hour away from our house, and I went and seen Rush. And
the crowds back then were a little different than they are now.
Yeah.
So a little rougher crowd, So my parents were very protective and they didn't want me going. So like I said, I made up for it. Once I was on my own in the early '80s, I'm like, okay, guys, let's go.
Same way with me. So.
Yeah, I've been 43 times. So out of the 3 of us, I think I've been the most. But so I already have tickets for 2 shows for the new tour. So
yeah, me too. Yeah, I was like one of the things was the me and my friend, the guy that I told you about, his name is Tom Savino, that we went with my traveling Kiss buddy. We always said that if they got back together with the makeup that we had to go, so that prompted us to go to the show in Tiger Stadium. We got on the local TV there. I have a videotape of it somewhere. We got on the news, on the NBC News. I got interviewed in the street because the lady was freaking out that we were from New York. So it was pretty cool.
I'm sure there were people from all over the place there.
Yeah, it was weird because I'm standing outside and I'm like 10 people I knew from Long Island were just hanging out. It was like being at home, It was crazy. So that was a very cool show. It was a very, very different vibe in the stadium that night. It was awesome. So I have a little bit of a Kiss pedigree going, so it's all good.
Yeah, I think that'll probably happen. I'd really like to go to the last show.
Yeah, I've been saying that.
if it's going to be somewhere that's doable.
Right. I was hoping
that'd
it would
be really
be
cool.
New York, but
I hope it's going to be in New York. I hope it's going to be at Madison Square. That would be cool.
Yeah, it should end where it started. That's my my personal belief. So
yeah, I agree.
But the Daisy doesn't exist anymore.
New York is really easy for people to get to from all over the world. Like when they did the reunion, I went to all 4 nights at the Garden. They played 4 nights in a row, and there were people from all over the world there. It was crazy. So I think that would be awesome if they do it, but just I guess we'll have to wait and see.
We'll have to see who's going to pay them the biggest bucks.
Exactly. There you go. Going to make the most money.
Yep. That's how it works.
All right. Well, before we dive into the conversation itself, what kind of fun musical stuff you had going on this past couple of weeks, Bill?
Well, let's see. Oh gosh, it's been 2 weeks. We haven't recorded for 2 weeks, have we?
Yeah,
That's correct.
Vacationing and all kinds of
crazy
crap. Shit.
Let's see. I've done a couple things. Really, biggest thing I did was last Saturday night, Noah and I went to see the Sirius Radio or Sirius Hair Radio Tour. I think it was Hair Nation Radio Tour. There you go. With Great White, Enough's Enough, and Bullet Boys, and they had an opening band too, an opening band in Indy too. It was a local band. They played 4 songs. They were called Snakeskin Cowboy, I think. They were really good.
Okay,
yeah, they were good. I was really impressed. they played 4 songs, and then we're about to play a 5th song, and the guy came out and gave him the you're done thing. So the guy kind of shut it off, but which is kind of cool. The cool thing about that part of the show too, was we were on the floor, and we were standing right behind an elderly couple that had some kids with them, which was kind of odd, but it was the lead singer's kids that had never seen their dad play.
Wow. How cool.
So that's cool.
That was really cool. So, I just told him, I said, we took some pictures and stuff like that of them and things like that. And then, I said, just send those kids up front. I mean, we weren't very far back. I mean, it was the opening band. So there wasn't hardly anybody there yet anyway. And so they, one of the kids went up there and wiggled his way to the front. And so it was really cool. That part was pretty cool. But they were pretty good. Nuff's Enough was the opener. And they're pretty good. I mean, it was Chip's Enough. He's kind of a wild man.
Right.
But they were good. The band sounded really tight. I'm not a huge Nuff's Enough fan. So, but it was pretty good. Then Bullet Boys, and man, I was very impressed.
I've seen those guys before, and he is like a bundle of energy.
He is like somebody shot him out of a rocket.
5 feet tall with a 10-foot tall voice, right?
He is.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was impressive. The impressive part was that Enough's Enough and Jack Russell's Great White used the sound that was venue sound, I guess, or house sound in the speakers, and Bullet Boys used their own backline, and it was loud as hell and in your face, and we were standing on we were like 6 rows from the front, and I thought my face was going to melt. I mean, it was
good.
It was loud as hell and sounded. I mean, it was really cool.
That's how rock should be. I mean, that's
but then Nuff's Enough wasn't like that. And then when they took I thought, oh, this is gonna be great. And then when Bullet Boys got done playing, they took all that line out, and I was like, oh boy. And so the first couple of songs for Great White for Jack Russell I was just pissed. I was like, this is horrible. You couldn't understand them. It sounded like mud. It was just bad, because in that venue, the speakers were out here, out beside you, and you couldn't really, they weren't pointed in. They weren't pointed in, like toward the audience. And it was just, so you couldn't really hear it. Finally, they got it right. But I'm telling you, Mark Kendall and has been on our show before. I love Mark. I think he's a great asset to that band, but the voice of Great White is Jack Russell. There is not another soul.
You sent me
great.
What you sent me, I was kind of iffy because I couldn't really, it wasn't a really good recording. And I really was
he sounded really good. I mean, it wasn't really toned down. He was very active, running all over the place. I mean, it was really good. Now, he's aged, and you can tell he's aged. He's had to hit.
And Jack's had his demons too. I mean,
he's had his demons, but he was very thankful for everybody being there. If he said thank you once, he said it 50 times.
Well, that's good.
He was just very grateful, but they sounded really good once they got the sound right. But there's just, I've tried to listen to the other Great White and stuff like that, and I like the music, but the sound is just not right without Jack. So, yeah, it was really cool. And Noah got to meet, or I think he met some of those Nuff's Enough guys were out signing stuff, and some of the guys from the Bullet Boys.
We were supposed to call him actually. Remember,
well, I did.
Chips?
I called.
Or did you call him? Chip?
Oh yeah, he didn't answer. He just didn't answer.
Right.
So it's
not
okay.
that I can't believe that. I mean, Chips. He's a spaz anyway. I mean, he's a great guy. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I wasn't saying it in a bad way, but I mean, the whole point is he's got shit going on from all directions. I mean, so
it was good, great night, and a lot of fun, and great show. So it was definitely worth going up for sure. Had a great time. So that was that. I've got tickets for 2 shows. I got tickets for the Louisville show at the Yum Center, which is early. It's like April or March 12th, I think it is. So it's pretty early, as early as I could get close. And then on April 11th is the show in Jacksonville, and John, most of my family lives in Jacksonville now. So I'm going down. My dad took me for the first time in 1978 to see Kiss at Roberts Stadium in Evansville, and I'm going to see them with my dad, my sister, my bro, and my 2 half brothers. And we've never all seen them together.
Very cool.
And we've all been, but never together. So it's going to be really cool.
That'd be cool. That's cool.
That's going to
awesome.
be really cool. It was neat. So telling my dad was just jacked because he's like, we had to tell him because I was afraid he was going to buy tickets. He would buy tickets and then give them to me for Christmas. I'm like, dude, we're already going. So it was cool. He was very, very, very.
You have
excited
friends that you could invite to Florida and pay for their.
You can go anytime you want to go down there. He'll be glad to have you. But so we're going to do that. That'll be fun. And then
awesome.
I'm sure there's my oldest son doesn't get to go yet because he's going to be gone that week. But we're going to the Center in Louisville, so we'll end up going to another show for him. Probably it'll be an Indy. That's not an Indy date yet, but I'm sure there will be. But
that'll be
yeah, it's going to be fun. It's exciting and so this is always an exciting week. I'm glad we're doing the show talking about the Kiss Cruise because I told Joe Polo that I just live vicariously through him for a week. Him and Jeff Roger and
all those guys.
Yeah. Next year we'll have to remember to get Jeff Rogers to be our on the location.
I told you that. I told you that.
By the time you thought of it, it was too late.
I was like, we got our guy. He's
a great
there.
idea.
We keep him awake.
So Jeff, wake up. We got a job for you next
Jeff.
year.
There you go. But it's cool.
It doesn't pay very well, but it's got a lot of.
We'll send you a T-shirt. Please, we'll send anybody a T-shirt.
As long as it's an extra large. I got a whole bag. Anyway.
There you go. Dennis, what do you got, man?
Well, let's see. Concert-wise, I haven't seen shit. And
how were they?
I did. Huh?
Nothing. I said, how were they?
No, they were shitty. Anyway.
Yeah.
But I did go album shop. Actually, just by accident, I went album shopping. We went to Williamsburg, Virginia. My wife and I spent the last week on vacation. The last day of vacation, we went by this antique store, and I was like, we were actually leaving. I was like, well, let's go to this big antique mall. Let's go there. So she started looking around. Well, I got around. I hit a couple of booths, and all of a sudden, there's albums. And then I find out there's a shit gobba of albums in this place. So I'm
that's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah. Shit gob is a bunch. So anyway, I did buy a few albums, and the thing was, and I'm going to give a little bit of advice for people who have booths in these flea markets or whatever you want to call them, secondhand things, antique, whatever you want to call them. If you have a Kiss album and it's not in a sleeve and it's scratched up, just because it says Kiss, it's not worth $22. I found
it's not worth $1, actually.
Yeah, no shit.
Well, shit, if he wants a bunch of scratch Kiss records, I got a bunch of those.
That I actually bought a bunch of records, but they had this one bin of special albums. These were the high dollar albums. It was like one little milk crate full of it. Of course, Beatles, Kiss, whatever. They had a Kiss Alive one that was beat to shit. I mean, the albums were just fucking just terrible. No sleeves, but they did have the insert. But the insert looked like it'd been in the rain for like 3 days.
Oh.
It was $35 they wanted for that. Then they had Rock and Roll Over album with no sleeve, and the album was just looked like somebody had, like Freddy Krueger had like looked at it for like 5 minutes, like this. And it was $22.
Jeez.
Wow. They had a destroyer that was the whole outside was destroyed, so it fit the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And the album was no better, no sleeve, $22. They have this thing that they think that Kiss is going to be whatever it is, and the Beatles same way. They had some Beatles albums that were just beat to shit, beat to shit Beatles. Anyway, so these places, I don't care what.
Was any of those albums called Butchering the Beatles?
I wish it was. Oh, and then another thing you need to do on the people that have these albums. This is the first one. All of them came off. This is the one that didn't come off, and it pissed me off. So anyway, this is the one I got. April Wine, Harder and Faster. Really good copy. I mean, it's actually a really nice copy.
How much was that?
$2. That's what I pay for these things. I don't pay more. $5 is the most part that I paid for any of these. So that's April Wine. I got Warrior. I love, Pace. I love her. I just have to buy that. And of course, like I say, it's in real, everything I bought, I've checked out. It's in real good condition. Triumph, Just the Game. It's not the best album that Triumph comes out, but it has Lay It on the Line, and I love that fucking
It's got
song.
a lot of good songs on it.
That's good stuff.
And actually, it's one of those ones that whenever I put on, I'm like going, oh yeah, I remember that.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I remember that. So anyway, going from there, here, you guys are going to think I'm kind of weird, but Al Stewart.
We already know that.
We already know you're weird.
That's not Year of the Cat. You can't have that one.
It's time passages, which I actually have Year of the Cat. It's in my other box of collections. I love Al Stewart. I mean, and of course, there's two great songs on here. There's actually Song on the Radio and Time Passages. Unbeknownst,
it's also in plastic. It's also still in the original wrapper.
Yeah, it's still in the wrapper. $2, and it sounds really good. The thing about Al Stewart is you got to remember his brother played in. Come on,
Rod Stewart's band.
The album Breakfast in America, Supertramp. His brother is a saxophone player in Supertramp.
Oh yeah.
Well, if I liked Supertramp, I might have known that.
Yeah, there you go.
We need to do more history, more research on saxophone players.
This is the most I paid for an album. I paid $5 for this, but I have never had a Bob Seger album, and this is a great album because it still has, even though it has the old time rock, it has Hollywood Nights on it, and still the same. I love those. And Feel Like a Number. It's a good album.
It's a very good album.
Cool.
So $5, good shape. And of course, Bill will recognize this album.
Hey, the Babies. I have that.
I have the greatest hits. But I don't have the anthology. This is two different albums.
Yeah.
But anyway, and I guess when they cut those, is that when they send them back?
Cut out. Yeah.
Cut out. So basically, that's ones that didn't sell, and they send them back for whatever.
Well, no, those are ones that back in the day when there was a period of time where you couldn't send records back anymore.
Right.
So it used to be you could send them back, and they would give you a date that said this is the last ship date to send records back. So if you pre-ordered and you worked in a store, you had a certain amount of time to keep the records in the store, and then you could return them. And if you didn't, then they ended up being cutouts, and you just had to eat it. So if you didn't sell it, eventually it ended up.
A lot of times, too, those were the promo copies that were sent out to people to do reviews.
Yeah.
So basically, if this sit in a store long enough, it would become a cutout. Is that what you're saying?
It could be, or they get sent back to the label or the distributor, and the distributor makes them be cut out, and then they send them back out at a lower price.
It looks like brand new. I mean, it's a really nice album.
Yeah, cool.
So anyway, I did that one, and then dun 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 dun.
Oh, Jesus God Almighty!
$2.
No bucks.
The only reason.
The next time you're going to spend $2 on that shit, just do me a favor and put it in the mail. Send it to me.
You know what? The only reason that I did buy this for $2
because you're an idiot.
Hey man, I saw that's the band that opened for Kiss the first show I went to.
Exactly.
1979 in Madison Square Garden.
This is actually of all the 4 copies that I have of this. Actually, 5 copies that I have of this. This is the best one that I have. Actually, as far as the album itself,
I'll give you. You can have 6 copies.
I thought you gave that to Rich from
Cossack.
Yeah, Rich Cossack. I thought you gave that to him.
I don't think so. I think it's still in there.
Then I'll take it. And Rich tells me that he has like 15 or 16 copies of it. He buys every one. He saves them. It's like saving dogs. Because this is a great fucking album. And if you don't, you need to get that through your head. It's a great album.
Wow.
He has that many copies for the same reason I have 4 dogs, because I'm really fucking stupid.
I love that album, and you know what? If I can get it for $2, and like I said, it's actually a better copy than what I've got now. So that's
if I send you $4, will you quit buying it?
Sure, I'll buy, and then I'll buy 2 more
I'll
copies.
go out and buy 2 more $2 ones.
That gets me 2 more copies for free.
God.
But anyway,
I
so
see that. You know, that's funny because every record store, every I ever go into,
Right.
they always have that record, and it's always like $1 or $2 because
Here's funny,
there are
though.
5 million of them, which I can't figure out how they sold 5 million of them ever to start with.
Right.
And then it's just not a good record, man.
You go into any of these places all across the country, they always have one of a bunch of one album. Up there, David Soul. I could have bought
Really?
you David
Man,
Soul.
you should have bought a David Soul record. That'd been pretty cool.
They had I don't know how many copies
Don't
of
give
that
up
fucking.
on us, baby.
I did, and that was one thing. I always kind of as I'm looking through things, I always try to look and see what's going to be because sometimes it's either that or it's Barry Manilow or it's ABBA or it's some things. But David Soul was the one that came up. Like say Anne Murray's a lot of times you find those or Linda Ronstadt.
Linda Ronstadt. Oh yeah, 10 of those. You know,
Barbra
at least
Streisand. Barbra
Lisa would have
Streisand.
been a big fan of yours if you'd have bought her a David Soul record.
Oh really?
You lost out, brother. Now you got
Yeah.
nothing. She don't even like you anymore.
But don't give
I can
up
hear it from in
on
there.
me, baby.
Too late. Too late. Too late. We gave up on you, brother.
So I'm done. That's my segment. But I actually did go record hunting, and I had a great time.
Cool.
Except for this one. Oh, here's another real quick thing. If you're gonna sell your records, put them in a bin where I can flip through them. Don't put them on the end where I have to sit and I was like for 45 minutes. I went like this and was looking at the edge, trying to read the edges. And Kelly comes around. She's like going. I got up and I'm like, I'm in a sweat. She's like, you're sweating. I'm like going, I've been upside down for 45 minutes trying to figure out.
Well, that explains why you bought another New England album too.
That's true. Touche.
Yep.
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Oh, you're absolutely right. John, do you collect vinyl? Are you still a vinyl dude? Or
no, I don't have the room. I ran out of room a long time ago, so when they told me I could buy an iPod and fit like 2,000 songs, and I was like, oh, okay, cool, So no, but I do still get CDs every once in a while. I just actually got one. I don't know if it's going to make it go out of focus or not. I don't know if you can see that.
Striker.
Who is it?
A band from Canada called Striker.
Oh, cool.
Came with the booklets autographed and guitar picks and T-shirt bundle. I also got some free stickers from a band called Hellfire because I made a funny comment on one of their Instagram pictures.
Oh, that's cool.
That's some recent stuff. And as far as concerts and stuff, last week before I knew I was moving, I had tickets to see Metallica in Philly because I lived in Jersey. It was only about an hour away. So my girlfriend's favorite band, we had these great seats. And because, I don't know if you guys know, Metallica plays in the round, so there are no seats on the floor.
Right.
So we had front row of the first section off the floor right next to the stage. So the stage is shaped kind of like a diamond. So we were at one tip of it. So it was pretty cool. So I didn't want to give the seats up. And like I said in the beginning of the show, some guys in former bands that I was in said I couldn't leave, the Northeast without doing a gig. So the Metallica show was on a Thursday, and then my gig that we eventually did was on a Saturday. So that's where I was last week. I was back up in New York. Went to see Metallica in Philly, drove out to Long Island, and then, had a day of rest, did the show, and flew home the next morning. So, I didn't do much last week,
That damn work thing gets in the way, didn't it?
Yeah, the gig was fun. Metallica was great. And I also got 2 tickets for 2 Kiss shows. This week I'm going to see Ace Friday. This Friday he's playing here in Clearwater at the Capitol Theater. So I'll be going to that show.
Right.
I hadn't
With
seen
the
Ace
hottest band in the world.
I haven't seen Ace in a long time because I was not a fan of one of the guys that was in his band, so I refused to go. And now that he's got Gene's, backing band, I've seen Gene solo, and those guys are great. So
Those guys are
and that
awesome.
helps Ace's performance boost up a little bit,
Well, John, I have a feeling that you and I dislike the same member.
Oh, okay, yeah. RS.
Yeah.
Okay,
Maybe.
bullseye.
Of course, I kind of feel bad for him with everything that happened
Yeah,
all at the
yeah,
same
it was
time.
kind of a crafty way to get.
That was terrible.
The timing of him getting fired was bizarre, man. I was shocked. Thought that was really strange, but it's the business, you know.
That's exactly right.
Wow.
The only thing that I got from the last couple of weeks, this past Saturday, my sound company did PA and sound for a mariachi band at a local Day of the Dead event.
Oh yeah.
If you yell La Bamba at a mariachi band, that is the equivalent of yelling Freebird to a cover band. Don't fucking do that. You look like a damn ass. I heard that and I was like, really it was the funniest thing I think I'd heard all weekend. But the best part about it was La Bamba is actually an old Mexican folk song. So the mariachi band did it the old traditional way. So if you weren't paying attention, you didn't even realize they were singing La Bamba.
But did they all like kind of roll their eyes and go, "Oh man"?
No, actually, the bass player, he was like, "Yeah, we'll know that one. We'll do it next," and just right into it. Just didn't skip a beat. But I would be willing to bet that they get that request at every show.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
It just caught me. It struck me funny. It was a long day. The day was almost over. That happened, and it kind of made the whole day worth it.
Cool.
It is funny.
Very cool.
All right, so let's start talking about End of the Road and Kiss Cruise stuff.
Cool.
Who's going to see the End of the Road tour?
Don't know.
Dennis hasn't made up his mind. Well, I am going to the show in Nashville on April 9th. My birthday, people.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, happy birthday.
I bought the tickets. My wife ordered the hotel, so it's going to be a good birthday.
There you go.
City.
Wow, look at that. Mm-hmm. Hubba hubba.
And that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah. Next.
No, I honestly, I can't. I haven't bought a ticket yet. I'm going to wait. I don't personally. I've told you guys, and I haven't told John. The last time I seen Kiss was the farewell tour with all four. Paul singing great, and they sounded great, and I'm good with that. I haven't seen the last two. I haven't seen Sonic Boom. I haven't seen, I didn't see Monster, and I just like, you know what? I'm good. And the thing is, if I don't see him again, it's not going to bother me. It's one of those things where I'm good with myself. If I can pick up maybe a cheap ticket at some point and maybe go to one of these shows, but if I go and I know that it's canned Paul singing, to me, I'm good. And the thing is, everybody has their own ending of Kiss. I've done that. To me, the farewell tour was a farewell tour for me, and I'm fine with that. Everything else that they put out is just kind of icing on the cake, and I'll watch it on YouTube and everything else. And it's not the fact that I don't like Kiss, and don't get me wrong, I'm not a Tommy hater or an Eric hater. Just because it was the original four when I seen them at the ending, that's just the way it was. But that's the way I want it to be. And then sometimes, it's one of those things when I was a kid, whenever, somebody passes away and you don't go see them at your funeral. My mom told me at that point, she said, remember them as you remember them. That's how you want to remember them. You don't feel bad for not wanting to see them at the end. Remember them as you want to remember them. And that's the way I remember Kiss. I mean, it's a simple answer.
It was an awfully long time to get there.
What's that? No, but I'm just saying. I wanted to. I mean,
I get it. No, I get it. I think you're right.
And I have to explain that because the thing is that people are like, oh, I can't believe you're not going to. No, I'm not. I'm fine. I feel fine.
Dennis, the last time I saw them was when they were touring with Def Leppard.
Right.
And I honestly had planned that being my last time of seeing them.
Right.
And then when they announced that this is the end of the road,
Right.
this time I really believe it is. And
Oh,
I don't know why, but I changed my mind. I'm like, I don't want to miss that.
And it's your prerogative.
Right.
I mean, and the thing is, if that's what makes you feel good, then do it. I just myself, I'm satisfied. I'm happy. I don't have to go. I'm not saying I'm not going to go, but for right now, I'm not fighting for tickets. I'm not trying to do this. We'll just see what happens. That's just the way I am. So
cool. So John, where are you going to?
I'm going to the show here in Tampa, and I really wanted to go to Madison Square Garden, but I'm kind of like jaded, spoiled. I need to be up in the front, so like the tickets were outrageously priced and very hard to get for the Garden. So I am going to go to the show on Long Island. I'm going to go back to home to see them. That was the second place I saw them in September of '79. Judas Priest opened. So I kind of, when they announced all of this, I said, okay, I'll do a local show and I'll try to do a New York show if I can. And the reason being is because, like you said, Dennis, I was fine with the farewell tour when it was happening. I was like, okay, how many bands last this long? How many bands am I going to see, this many times that I love so much, And it kind of pissed me off when they announced this and everybody was like sad, and I'm like, that's like selfish. These guys are 70 years old. It's like you've had all this time. It's done. And I don't have a problem. I'm like when Gene and Paul say it's like a celebration. I feel the same kind of way. Mm-hmm. It's like, sure, this is my favorite band, and they've lasted this long when people didn't think they would make it past the first album, Right. And so I'm good with it. I never had a problem with anybody that came into the band. I don't understand how people bash, Tommy and Eric, but yet when you talk about Eric Carr, it's like, right. It's like, and why is that an exception? He wasn't an original member, some people it's either the original four or nothing, and that's cool, whatever you want, everybody's different. To me, I don't do drugs, I don't drink alcohol, I never have, I never will. Kiss is basically my drugs, so I need to get high 2 more times while I still can. and the reason for that is I kind of relayed this to Paul Stanley recently when I got to meet him at one of his Wentworth Gallery things, and I told him face to face, I said, when I was 17 years old, 3 months away from graduating from high school, my mom passed away all of a sudden out of nowhere. She just dropped dead, and it was very traumatic. And at the time, I was still hadn't tried anything, and I was in, like I said, I'm in high school. And so I turned to Kiss. I put on a live, and I air guitar in my basement, and that was my therapy. That was what got me through everything. Right. And I was able to stay away from the drugs and the alcohol, and I made a promise to my mom. I said, okay, for you, I'm going to do this. I'm going to stay, what you would ask me to do, and I have. I'm 100% sober my whole life, and it's basically because of Kiss. Because at that time I had people, well, why don't you come out and drink with us or smoke this and it'll make you feel better, and I was like, no, I'm not doing it, Yeah. So Kiss, as corny as it sounds, it was like it really helped me, and it was a gateway, and it was a gateway to other bands too, right. And I started listening to other stuff that was the same style of music, and then I've been that's just been my obsession ever since.
That's awesome.
Cool, man. I think that's a great story.
It is a great story.
Congratulations. That's cool.
Thank you. Hasn't been easy, especially,
Oh, yeah, definitely.
A lot of my adult life, I was in bands, and I was the singer. So, let me buy you a drink, do a line with us, And it's like, no, cool, give it to somebody else, I had the keys to the candy store, so to speak, So, but it really had helped me, So it's like I said, it's like I'm the junkie that's looking for those last 2 fixes.
That's what the problem is. A lot of people in the bars don't understand that, because I've been in bands all my life too, and and it's one thing I always, allow myself 1 or 2 beers through the night, but then, these people come up going, I got shots for everybody.
Yeah, right. And
I'm
you got to play.
Like going, dude, I said, so he ends up, whoever in our band who had a weak heart, he would be the one. They need to be shit faced by the end of the night. But the whole point is, and the thing is, you don't want to turn down drinks because you're selling drinks from the bar. So there was times I would pour stuff out. I'd pour it out in a cup.
Right.
Because I didn't drink it because, like I said, I only allowed myself 1 or 2 beers, and that was it. But people just say, don't buy drinks for the band. That's
right.
It don't work sometimes.
Yeah.
Some band, there's some band that they're listening to this going, don't say that, God damn it. It's only beers we get.
Yeah.
Stephen Piercy says, hey, just buy me another one.
Oh. I don't even want to get into that.
Whatever.
That's another show. That's
Now,
another
Bill, did you discuss where you were going to go see it?
Yeah, in Louisville and in Jacksonville. Yeah. With my family. Yep, I did. We're off that wagon.
So let's talk about a little bit about the gathering. You guys want to talk about that for a minute?
Sure.
None of us were there.
Mm-mm.
But we saw all the video from it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I saw all the video. I wasn't sure who all was going to be there.
Well, I saw.
It was a little bit elusive to me. I wasn't sure who all.
The first day at the gathering, it was a signing. I think Vinny had a signing all day long, basically. The second day there was another signing, and then that night, the second night was actually the night that 1984 band, which is Van Halen tribute band. Then they had 4 x Fate playing, and then Vinny came out and played with 4 x Fate. And I think that was it. Is that right? Am I missing somebody?
Maybe. I don't know.
Now, how much did Vinny actually play?
Oh.
Vinny was on stage for 3 songs. Okay.
Yeah, he played like songs with no solos in them too.
Yeah. And he actually during Cold Gin. Now, how many times do you think Vinny played Cold Gin with? Yeah,
I saw that. He let the other guy play the in between.
He absolutely stopped. He actually stopped.
I saw that.
Tracks. And I'm like going, for a guy who claims that he's practiced 8 hours a day every day, that he's been away from everything, and the fact that he's going to show up in Memphis and going to be a full shred show, those people are going to get fucking ripped off. I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to be the one that's, you can send email, you send hate mail to, DennisTalbot@gmail.com. I don't give a fuck.
Maybe they'll get their cassette box sets too.
Yeah, no shit. The dude,
but he still hasn't produced.
Yeah, exactly.
We have friends of ours that are still backing him, saying that he's just kind of baby stepping out. I'm telling you right now, the man can't shred. I'm telling you, and I don't give a shit. I have played for 35 years, actually 38 years,
and you can't shred either. No.
You know what though? But the thing is, I stopped playing for 20. I didn't play on stage for 20 years, and just picked it up. It took me about a month and a half, and I'm back up playing again. And I played for 8 years with this band. Now, just because you brought that up, I just called Tim. Right, said before we were talking, you and I were talking before we started this. My first guitar lesson is Thursday night at 6:30. I've been playing for 38 years and never took a guitar lesson in my life, and I'm going to take my first one this week.
Cool.
Because
there's no shame in that game.
Well, the thing is I've been playing for 38 years. I've played in 3 bands. I played at Robert Stadium on stage. I opened for John Cougar Mellencamp. I've never had a guitar lesson in my life. I am a hack at best. I'm a good guitar. I almost said
one of those dirty words.
I am a good rhythm player, but not a good lead player. I am a hack at lead playing, and that's what I'm going to do. I've got a friend of mine who's going to start teaching me. I want to learn all the, okay, we're playing this key. Where do I need to go? And that's what I want to do. Cool. You know what? At 53 years old, who knows? I might start my second career.
There you go.
In a couple of months. Who knows? So
it could be a Kiss tribute band.
So how much is Vinny charging you for lessons?
I'm not taking nothing from Vinny. I don't know.
Well, according to what
Vinny
the records
used to
are
be
going
behind. Vinny used to take the 7 o'clock lesson after I get done at 6:30 is what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
Now, Vinny looked very, like I said, as uncomfortable as he looked with an acoustic guitar in Atlanta. He looked more uncomfortable with electric guitar in Florida.
Maybe that's why he wore that weird makeup that he was wearing.
I mean,
Jesus, what was that?
Stop. What I don't understand about it is just stop.
Yeah.
Just nobody. I mean, surrounding yourself with a bunch of people that are just going to tell you yes all the time is not going to help him at all. I mean, that dude is so far off the reservation that it's done. I mean, he needs to just stop and quit.
Who did he go back to?
Call it what it is. Yeah,
he went back to the guy who brought him in Atlanta, the person he actually fired at the one time. The thing is that they're pushing him in a direction where it's just he's doomed to fail. He's going to fail. It's what's going to happen. He's going to fail.
It wasn't pretty at all. I mean, almost watching it was painful to watch the video because the one I saw, it was kind of zoomed up on him.
Oh yeah,
you could tell he was just like struggling and
he's looking at the guitar player to try to find some clues. He's trying to find out. He's looking for, and they were actually he was getting helped. I mean, Rob was actually looking at him, trying to, hey, do this, do this, do this. I mean, the guy. I mean, I felt sorry for him. I really did, and I'm like thinking now. And the thing is then, what does he do from here? He sells out 2 nights at Memphis, and starting out as basically an acoustic talking show, and now they're promoting it as a full shred show. You got to be fucking kidding me.
Well, he's going to lose his ass on the first show. It'll be a riot at the second show. It's just going to be a mess. It's just going to be. I feel bad for the dude. I really do, because
I do too.
The thing is in Atlanta, the reaction in Atlanta was so positive.
It was, and we were all. And then,
just instead of riding that wave, and he just has opted to do the opposite. And I think it's, there are those people that they can't get out of their own way. That dude cannot get out of his own way. He can't get the right people around him. He can't surround himself with the right people to get him in the right place, to get him in a positive position. And I don't know what it is. And maybe it's the fact that he just is looking for that instant magic that's going to break him and turn him into
for instant money.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Because you know what it is? There are all these Kiss fans that became Kiss fans after he was in the band that never got his autograph, never got a meet and greet, never got to see him, and he's trying to cash in on that. These people, you dangle any kind of Kiss carrot in front of them, and they go for it. And
here's what gets me is, and the thing was, Gene's, mentioned this 100 times, and I used to think Gene was stupid for saying this, but saying that Vinny was the most self-destructive person that he'd ever met.
Well,
and I actually believe that now, because there's been things that's happened since Atlanta to now that he could have had an opportunity to make money and be around people who really appreciated him, and he basically turned around and basically stabbed these people in the back. You know what I'm saying? And this happened this summer, and Bill and Alan know what I'm talking about. But these were people who were promoting Vinny as much as they could and helping him out as much as they could. And Vinny listened to somebody else that said, I can get you this better or whatever. And these guys are, and he just, I don't know. He doesn't follow a trail of somebody who knows what he's doing.
Well, I think to your point, you're right, John. He's looking for the one big hit that's going to make him a bunch of money and get him that. He's got to have that one thing to happen to get him to where he can start doing more of those things, but he can't, because he's not surrounding himself with the people that want him to be successful.
This Memphis thing is going to implode on him so hard. It's going to be just because they have booked it now to be this full shred thing. The only way that he's going to come out smelling a rose is the fact of if they don't let anybody bring any kind of recording device into the venue, and if he has a backing band with a fucking guy who's just a fucking smoking guitar player that plays his parts, and he basically maybe turns when he plays, you know what I'm saying?
That would be sad.
It would be sad, but that's the only way he's going to pull this off. There's no fucking way he's going to shred. I mean, he couldn't even play the shit. The
You couldn't
rhythm
even play
parts.
Cold Gin, which how hard is that to play?
Oh, I know. He couldn't even
Yeah,
play
no,
the
I
rhythm
saw that.
parts
Yeah,
to the
no,
other.
yeah, it was
It was
sad.
terrible. I mean, it's
I was gonna
fucking
ask you if the first song that the music teacher was gonna teach you was Cold Gin.
Maybe look it up.
At 13, I was playing that. I mean, it's
I-
not
yeah.
that hard. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not that hard. It's basic
So that's-
pentatonic. I mean,
So that whole thing ended, and then the next day the cruise started, right?
Right.
Let's get on the cruise.
all right, let's go on the cruise.
Let's go on the cruise. I
Who's
don't,
the
you know,
MVP of the cruise?
Bruce
Of
killed
course,
every
Bruce
Say
fucking
every
Hewlett.
fucking
every
year. Every year, Bruce.
There
Kulick.
was one obscure band that I was kind of surprised played on the cruise. A band called Lucifer. I don't know if you guys know who they are.
No.
The drummer and the singer are married. The drummer is this guy Nick. He's in a great. I mean, if you guys like Ace Frehley riffs and stuff,
Right.
you have to listen to a band called the Helicopters. This
Okay.
guy Nick is
I have heard those guys before.
yeah. Nick, he was a drummer before he was in the Helicopters. In Helicopters, he played guitar and sang. And then when they broke up, he had another band called Imperial State Electric, which is still going. But this band is with his wife, and she's the singer. And they're called Lucifer. And the name is not how they sound. They don't sound like a. They're a rock band. But
Well, there's
I
two
was really
hits
surprised
there.
that they made the cruise, man. But if you guys do yourself a favor and check out a band called the Helicopters, it's Hella,
Yeah.
Helicopters.
Helicopters.
Really great.
Okay.
There's a lot of Ace Frehley riffs, like in the guitar playing, and
Cool.
very commercial, straight up, almost pop, kind of like 70s pop. Kind of like a lot of old Kiss riffs in there too. And you guys and anybody out there that's listening and watching, check them out because you'll definitely like them. If you're a Kiss
Is this
fan,
something you get on Spotify? I guess are they on Spotify?
yeah, there you can find them at probably anywhere.
Oh,
Go to YouTube and just type it in there.
right there on iTunes.
There you go.
Out there.
Yeah, they're
HELLA.
really great. Check out an album called I think it's called Rock and Roll is Dead.
Right.
It's just some really great stuff that you guys would definitely enjoy.
I love finding new music. I mean, not
Yeah.
saying new music, but old music that I never heard of. That's
Well,
that's
if I'm
what's
allowed
cool.
to plug something, I do have a website that I started.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's called Kick Ass Forever, kickassforever.com, where I'm doing reviews, album reviews, and posting videos and stuff.
Right.
And a lot of it I'm trying to is pass on new bands to people.
Oh, cool.
Cool.
So I got a little sidetracked with the moving, but now that I'm going to start, really diving back into it, like I just did a review of, I'm getting off subject here. I'll wrap this up quick. Another band that a lot of you people that out there would like is called Turbo Negro. I know it's a weird name, but again, it's like a punk Alice Cooper Kiss mishmash of really great rock and roll. Their old
John
singer
has been
just-
pimping that band for as long as I've known him. They're really
They're
good.
great. I'm telling you, their singer just put out a solo album and it's awesome. Bands like that, like Hardcore Superstar. There's a lot of bands that have that old kind of Kiss vibe, from the '70s that's missing. Today. Today it's either like they either sound like Poison or they sound like Slayer. There's like it's hard to find those bands in the middle.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to do. I mean, anybody that's listening to this that's a Kiss fan, and if you're a fan of like the Ace version of Kiss, check out that band, the Helicopters. You will love them, guaranteed.
I will be
Sorry.
listening to them later tonight.
That's awesome.
Yeah. As for the cruise, yeah, and I was surprised that band got on the cruise because usually they have more known bands. Who
else was some of the other bands? I know
Dead
they said what
Daisies were on.
Dead Daisies were on there. Who else was on there though?
I don't know of anybody else.
I really don't know.
Did I guess Whatchamadiddle didn't make it on there this year. They are
You have to be a little more specific.
no our favorite the not so
Steel Panther.
Steel Panther. They weren't.
Yeah,
on
they
there.
didn't make it.
They
No,
went traveling.
No.
they weren't on there.
I love those guys. So anyway, but no, Bruce and them, of course, they were ended up being the. I tell you what, they every year they've been, and he didn't need his
Well,
brother.
this is only his second year on the cruise, isn't it?
But he didn't need his brother this year to do it, though.
He didn't need his brother the first year either.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. So
Yeah, that was some
Brent-
set list that they played on
was
this.
it Brent
on this
Fitz,
cruise.
Todd, and then who was the other? Who was
I
their
don't know
bass?
who the drummer is. I don't know who. Oh no, I don't know who the
Brent.
bass player is. Yeah.
I
Sorry, I don't know
yeah.
who the bass player is.
I don't
know who that
either. I
was.
don't know who the bass player was either.
Robbie Crane.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was right. He's
that
one of those
sounds
guys.
correct.
I think he's one of those guys that's been in he was in Dokken. Probably he's been like bounced around from a lot of '80s bands.
He was in
I
Rat.
think he was the bass player.
They were fucking solid. That thing they did from Carnival of Souls.
Oh,
my God,
man.
Was
That
that
was
okay?
really awesome.
Ask me the best thing I've heard from the cruise.
Carnival of Souls.
Carnival of Souls medley.
Yeah, that was awesome.
No, Bill, you were wrong. The best thing that you heard
that
was
was not
Ace
last
doing
year.
Dark Light.
No.
Oh, man. Wow.
And you know what? God
I knew
love
exactly where that was going.
God love Ace for trying the deep cuts, but he needs to get a prompter. You know, the thing is, they sound great. Ace can't remember the things.
Well, it's you can't. You're gonna sound great when you've got that band.
But he tried.
That band can't help you with the lyrics because.
Right.
So now, John,
that was like every Kiss song. They were awesome. Those guys.
John, how many of the videos that have shown up from the cruise have you watched?
I don't know how many have shown up. I've seen from Kiss or from Ace or from everybody.
From Kiss, Ace,
yeah.
Bruce.
I saw Bruce. I saw the medley. I saw Ace. I saw what I see. I saw Dark Light. I saw Torpedo Girl.
Yeah. He was having some trouble on some of those.
Yeah.
Save Your Love. Save Your Love. I really wanted him to do that song, and Ace struggled on that song hard. I mean, the backup band was perfect.
Yeah.
Ace struggled on the lead. He struggled on the words. I don't know if it was just they didn't have enough time to get things down. I don't know what it was, but
Ryan told me they were going to. So when did the cruise leave? It left on the 31st on Halloween. Yeah. So they were going down on, which was Wednesday. They were going to be down there on Monday. They were meeting with Ace on Tuesday to do run-throughs, and then they were going on the boat. So I did a little. Actually, I tried to do an interview with Ryan Cook a week and a half ago, and it didn't work. So. Actually, the discussion was great. It's just there was no recording, so that part didn't work at all. But yeah, they were just stoked. I mean, they were just so excited and stuff like that. And I expected them to be incredible, and they were. But I did hear. So I don't know whether the video I've seen was from the first show or second show, because what I had been reading was the second Ace show was much better than the first one.
I didn't even know he did a second one.
So. I had heard that from a couple people that the second show was much better. I'd seen that
I heard
online.
it too, but I have to. I don't know. There was two set. I've seen the two set lists.
There were two different set lists.
Right.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the recording of the one. I did.
So I don't know which one I watched.
Right. So what do you guys think about the Sail Away as far as when Ace and Bruce came out?
That's what I was getting ready to bring up. Did you watch that, John?
I saw Rock and Roll All Night. That's the only one that I saw from that.
That's a rare song. I can't believe they played that. That's
it's a deep cut.
Such a rarity. Deep cut.
It's a deep cut. Deep cut into my heart. That's what it is.
What the thing that I noticed, what little bit I caught was when they first called Ace out. They had Bruce was already on stage. Ace come up and he shook Bruce's hand and everything, and then he walked right past Tommy and didn't even acknowledge him.
What a dick move.
I thought that was pretty much a dick move. There was no call for that.
But Tommy played the solo, and Ace kind of gave him like a nod, like good job.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, because he didn't know the damn solo.
Surprising too.
Rock and Roll All Night, he did give him, there's another time whenever he did give Tommy a thumbs up or something, and there was some other whenever he was. Tried to do a high five, and Tommy kind of gave him a hand. It was an awkward high five. He kind of a handshaky. But yeah, whenever he first walked out, he just fucking ignored Tommy completely. I mean, it was like, hey, and then, hey, Paul, fuck you, Tommy. You know what though? It's going to be that. I mean, it is.
It doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have. That's about. That's 100% about ego and nothing else.
Yeah.
There's nothing else there.
But
he gave that stuff away. He sold the license. He sold the makeup license. Just let it go, man. Just let it go. Yeah. It doesn't matter what you think.
But you did see though, at one point though, Tommy was sitting in between him and Bruce, and actually Tommy got up after the first song, gave Bruce his seat, and then sat over on the other side, let him sit there for the rest of the show. But then, like I said,
that's because Tommy was cold.
Well,
from the from the
On the cold shoulder.
From the
from the
ace
whole
freeze.
shoulder. He
The
was
ace freeze. But anyway, no. But the whole point was though, then and then the ace, he did give us.
So
he gave
I guess we're going to
thumbs
call
up.
him Ice Frehley now.
Ice freeze.
There you
Nice.
go. Oh yeah.
Nice.
I mean, it was what it was, but I think Ace by the end kind of did say, "Hey, okay, we're cool," and it is what it is.
I thought a great thing too was the Ace and Bruce Q&A thing was pretty good. I've seen a couple of things from that.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
Yeah, and they were cutting up pretty good. I did see so Joe Polo from Podcast Rock City is one of our buddies, and he posted he got to ask a question. So if you had to submit a question, and then they selected you, and if they selected you, he got something out of it too, besides being able to be up there and ask them questions. But he asked them, I think the question was, is there a guitar that you have had that you no longer have that you wish you had back, or something like that, that meant a lot to you or whatever. And Ace tells a story about the 59 Les Paul that he has, that when he was him and his wife or girlfriend at the time were going to go gambling, and they only had like so much money. And so on the way to the casino, they stopped and pawned off his 1959 guitar. And the guy gave him $18,000 for it. And he paid $4,000. And the guy gave him $18,000, and he said he went back to buy it back, and it was $360,000 was what they wanted.
Oh shit!
Or something. I mean, it was a ridiculous number.
But if you pawn it, you go back for you pay your money. He must have went back a long time after.
Well, who knows? You don't know.
You know what I'm saying?
Anyway,
you pawn
the whole time that's going on, Bruce is over there just laughing because it gets to Bruce. It gets to Bruce, and Ace is kind of chuckling about it too. And Ace Bruce just takes like 4 or 5 shots at him about it. And he goes, wow. Have you ever, so he asked them the same, he goes, I've never pawned anything because I don't have a gambling problem. And he took a couple of barbs. I mean, it was kind of fun. And Ace was chuckling about it too, he talked about the yellow banana guitar that he had from, I think it's Crazy Nights. He talked about he still has that guitar. But he made a couple comments that, most of the time when you see, at least for him, if you see him play a guitar and you don't see him ever play the guitar again, it's because there was something with that guitar that didn't work, because he keeps them all. He doesn't get rid of them. So he must have, a pretty big thing. Anyway, I thought it was pretty cool. Joe did a great job with the question, and, Joe's a good guy anyway, but that was pretty cool. The set list,
set list is terrible. Dude.
The acoustic set list, when you got to the live shows and the last year I thought it was kind of cool, even though I'm not an Elder fan at all.
I know they did I
because they did something different. This year they broke out Heaven's on Fire, which is a song I really like. I've liked that song for a long time, but that's what they broke out for this cruise. And the thing about it is the people that I don't bitch about. I mean, I still bitch about going to the shows, and it's the same 16 songs, John, we've heard for how many years, right, dude? Yep. But I go for the show, and I like the show.
Right.
But I'm not going to pay, and I still am not going to pay $3,000 to go on a cruise to hear the same songs I can go sit in a stadium for and hear for
$300
for $59. I'm not going to do that. It's dumb because they didn't bring anything. I'll say it again. I would pay $60 to go to a Bruce Kulick show with that band right now. That'd be well more.
I saw the set list from the 2 electric shows, and I was shocked. I'm like, if I'm on that boat paying all that money, with the president being that this is the time that they can play, the deep cuts, because it's not playing to the masses, it's playing to the hardcore diehards.
It's not about
that's the set list that they break out. I would have been throwing people off the boat. Let's put it that way.
And it's proof again that that's not what it's about. It's about them doing what they need to do to get prepped ready for whatever tour they're going to do. Because that's, we've heard part of the songs. They're going to add a few more in there, but and really in both those shows they played Rock and Roll All Night. Really?
Yeah, but
Who
you know,
on that boat?
to be honest
who on
with
that
you
boat
though,
needs to hear that again.
if I go out and see the end of the road tour and that they play that set list, I'm not going to be shocked.
No. Oh,
No, that's what it's
true.
for.
That's true.
But
Right.
when you preach that, you know, you can't play the deep cuts to the big shows on the tour because of the masses coming. You know, I can't not play Shout It Out Loud or this song or that song. When you get on the boat, I mean, they've shown in the past on the boat what they play.
Right.
You know, to go out and play a generic set list like that, I would have been really disappointed. You know,
They should say, like, okay, here's the situation. We're gonna have, whenever we go out next year for this end of the road, it's gonna be the greatest hits tour. But tonight, you guys get something special.
Yeah, right.
And here's maybe 4 songs. We're gonna throw 4 songs at you that you've never heard before.
Yeah, I mean
that would have been the difference. That would have been a night and day difference.
They play him in the acoustic show. Why can't they play him in the electric show? Why can't they open with Coming Home in the electric show? I just don't get it. You know,
Eric and Tommy can play those fucking songs.
Yeah, exactly. They can play any Kiss song.
And Gene can play those songs. He's proved it.
Can't sing them unless he's got a big teleprompter.
He can.
You guys see there was
you give him the words, he can sing it.
There was some guy today that's got a show, I think, on YouTube that was trying to expose the lip syncing on the boat. I don't know if you guys got to see that or not.
No, I haven't seen that.
It was some guy, I think he's called Dr. The F word.
Dr. Fuck. Yeah, we know.
I didn't want to say it, but yeah.
We know him.
We know who he is.
Yeah, if you go to his page, because there was some kind of alert or something on Facebook.
I was gonna watch that later, and I haven't.
Yeah, if that's not doctored, if that's actual footage, it's kind of scary because they got him. They got him a couple of times. I think it was three like examples of what they saw as possible lip syncing mistakes. Yeah. In the show, and I mean, like, I know a lot of people were bitching about the NBC shows, like the late night show. Their gear was probably all on the boat already. You know, if you watch those 2 shows, the Jimmy Fallon and the what's the other guy's name, James Gordon or whatever. If you watch those 2 shows, there's no amps. There's no amps behind them at all. You got to figure everything was already on the boat. So if the music was canned for that, I mean, usually on TV it is, and they sing live. Yeah, you know, it's not cool, but it's understandable because, I said, the gear was probably on the boat. But to do it on the boat in front of the fans, I mean, that's a little weird.
I said before, I don't care if he sounds rough. Just do it. Just do it. Put it out there, and let's enjoy it, and understand that he's 70 years old, and
right. You know, I think
unfortunately get used to it because that's what you're going to get.
Well, I understand that, and I mean.
You're gonna get canned fucking vocals, and that's why.
The problem the last couple of tours is that he's still trying to sing like it's 1985, you know, and it's not. He doesn't sound. The same thing happened with Rob Halford when I don't know if you guys remember, or you guys Priest fans. Rob Halford left for a few years,
right?
And when he first came back, I mean, I saw a couple of shows where he was hunched over, and his face was bright red from trying to scream and hit the notes, and it sounded horrible. I mean, this is like the Frank Sinatra of heavy metal, and he's sitting there because he just hadn't sung like that in a few years, and plus he's older. You know, as a male, when you get older, you naturally lose that register, the high end. Your voice gets deeper. Right. So Paul, I think he hasn't adapted to that. He keeps trying to do all those yodel yelps. He does, you know, and you can't do it. You got to sing the song.
I've seen Rush. You know, I saw Rush on their last tour, and it was like, you know. Getty
it's
was
not the same thing, though. It's not the same thing.
No, but Getty was in a different register also. He had some kind of yodel thing going on there at the very end just to get through the songs. Now you have, you know, look at Don Dokken in their last tour. They tuned down, and then Don was. I actually, you know what? You can fucking say whatever you want, but I loved the way those songs turned out. I think they sound cool. They have a different feel to them. Is it the songs that we remember from the 80s? No, but they're fucking cool songs, and I like the way he does it in the lower register. It's just it's a different way to present them.
Yeah,
it doesn't bother me. I like them.
I mean, it's really hard. Like once you get into the 60s and 65, I mean,
Oh,
The only guy I can think of that sounds similar to the old days is Klaus from the Scorpions. He's still
Klaus.
He's
Sammy
still
Hagar. Sammy Hagar can still hit it.
Yeah,
There's a few guys that can still hit those notes, but they're
but I
very
mean, like even like I don't know if you guys listen to Manowar at all. I mean, when a guy like that starts losing it, getting old, it's like, yeah. But what's that saying they have in sports? That Father Time is undefeated. Eventually age is going to catch you. So that's what I feel with Paul is he hasn't come to terms with, I can't do that anymore. I have to sing the songs a different way. He's starting to do it here and there on the last tour or tour and a half, but he's still even in between songs, he's trying to scream, and it's not working.
And the whole point is, they had to cancel one of his acoustic shows on the fucking boat. Well, duh. You can't fucking do an acoustic show after you've done, two shows in a row at night. The thing is, he doesn't, and the whole point is, if they go on this fucking tour or this end of the road, I don't want to hear that he's playing a fucking acoustic show before one of these shows. If he's doing that, then it's fuck.
No, they actually cut that out of the meet and greets.
Well, they better, because if he did one of those and then did a canned fucking vocal that night, that's bullshit. That's absolute bullshit.
The sound check acoustic thing got totally cut out. If you look at the list of what you get on the meet and greets, it's not there anymore.
Good. Well, at least
and matter of fact, I watched a few where they were doing a song and Gene would be like, save your voice, for the show.
They want him to. I mean, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
All right. Bill's muted, I know. Bill. He's muted. He's still muted.
He knows.
He knows.
I know I'm muted.
I'm watching you go, I know.
That was for your comedy enjoyment. It didn't matter. I'm still going.
All right.
Yeah, exactly. I still have to go one or two more times.
And you guys go, and like I said, I'm not telling you I'm not going to go. It's just right now I don't have tickets, and
that's totally understandable, man.
And just
if you hold off too much longer, you're going to have to go to Louisville because the Nashville tickets are selling pretty well.
Yeah, I think it'll do okay.
Yeah. But don't forget too, this is only the first round of the tour.
Yeah,
they're going to be more shows. Yeah. Like I noticed in Florida, they didn't book Orlando. They
didn't book Indianapolis.
Miami. I think they built Tampa and Jacksonville. They're going to come back and play Miami and Orlando.
Yep.
So it's just you just got to wait. I mean, they said it's going to be 3 years. So.
Well, they're only waiting to go to Miami so that they can get Adam's money twice.
There you go. And I'm sure Adam is going to want the set list from this show of some kind, or videos, or we'll have to autograph a set list for him.
Yep. So because Cincinnati wasn't on there, Indianapolis wasn't on there.
Right. So they only announced 45 shows. So
was Detroit on this leg?
If it's going to be 3 years, I'm sure they're going to do what they're doing. Arenas here, then they're going to do all those big festivals in Europe in the summer, and then they're going to.
Gene's big festival that he's putting together are they going to put Kiss into that?
Probably.
So I'm saying he's promoting this. He's going to put together this big festival.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Or maybe his band is going to play.
So they're going to be the big thing on one of those nights.
I think they announced Australia and New Zealand for October.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised after that if they do Japan, so they can. That's one good lap,
Yep.
And then
they'll come back to the States.
Come back to the States and do the places they didn't play, and just keep milking it out,
Yep. So how we get our fix then is there's the Bruce Kulick and Ace Frehley tour.
There you go.
I'd go see that in a heartbeat. I wouldn't even I'd just be like, give my credit card. Just, okay, I'll go see that. I don't care.
That would be a good bill.
God damn. Bruce, and then have Tom or Todd singing for them guys, and then have, Brent or whoever they can get playing drums. Those two, he needs to keep Todd though, whatever he does.
Well, how about this? How cool would it be to have Bruce open the end of the road tour, playing all those obscure songs?
I would be loving that too. See, I thought that.
I don't think you can do that with.
No, they would never do it. But I'm just saying, for us hardcore fans, that would be really cool because they could play all the songs that Kiss wouldn't play. They're not going to do that because that's going to show them up. No comment.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's why it's not going to happen.
Right.
Yeah, and they haven't even talked about an opener, right? So I haven't seen anything about an opener.
They'll get some obscure.
They'll have to have somebody though.
Yeah, they'll be.
Probably the Dead Daisies again.
That'd be all right.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
That would be acceptable. Yeah.
That's a pretty good gig they got. They could always call Def Leppard because they're like the horror of all.
God, don't need that. They don't need
double
that.
bills. I said that to somebody
okay.
online. I said that to somebody online, and I got all kinds of crap for that.
Why don't Def Leppard hook up with like fucking REO and
Everybody.
Styx, and then like those guys tour every year, so just
Poison,
it's going to be
Poison,
yeah,
Styx, REO.
Well, I think what Def Leppard needs is Pete Willis to do a Bruce Kulick and play just the first 2 Def Leppard albums, and we'll all be happy.
That would be pretty funny.
That'd be funny too.
Not too much.
All right.
Well, John, do you have any parting thoughts before we bring this episode to an end?
Hey, man, I'm just happy to be here, man. I really appreciate you asking me. It's always cool to talk Kiss with fellow Kiss fans, and thanks for having me on, man. It's very cool, a lot of fun.
All
right,
nice
well,
meeting you.
Plug your stuff again.
Pimp that website that you were talking about one more time.
Oh, it's www.kickassforever.com, and that's it's supposed to be me and some friends, but the friends haven't been chipping in, so I've been doing a lot of the legwork.
You
again,
the one friend.
album reviews, an interview or 2 here and there as the site gets bigger. I hope to get more interviews. Post some videos when they're fresh and come out, and just try and keep people up to date on not just like bands like Kiss, but like I was talking about before, some more obscure bands that I think if you like these bigger bands, that you'll like these other bands that I always had a knack for finding like the obscure bands, and when I turn people on to them, they're like, oh wow, how come I didn't know about this? So hopefully I can help out with that too. So if you could check it out, that would be awesome. Thank you.
Cool, man.
We will check it out.
All right, buddy.
Helicopter.
Thanks, man. Take us out, dude.
Helicopters, right?
I'm all around about that.
HELLA.
Right.
All right, folks. Check us out on agesofrock.com. Hit all of our socials, Stitcher Radio, all that bullshit. And until next time, peace out, folks. Thanks for listening to the Ages of Rock podcast. If you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and most importantly, tell all your friends. Remember, you're never too old to rock. Until the next episode, peace out, folks.